Everybody, and welcome to some more RLIS Season 6 Grand Finals. Right now we have the Rising Star Grand Final. Banshees against the Saints. Arno Bass and Sean Page against Bible, Barbantana and Not Joe. I am Ejam. Joined with me tonight is Res to give you the action. We have the Rising Star Grand Final now, and Res, of course, we have the Ascending Star Grand Final later. A lot of players looking to make a name for themselves here, try to finish off what they started. All they have to do is win one best of 7 and they will be crowned champions, and I'm sure their managers will be watching very closely as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Ejam. I mean, these two teams in the Rising Star tier, as you can see on the screen now, the Banshees, they top the standings in league play. The Saints, close behind in second, though, so it's really a toss-up as to who is going to come down in this one. The two managers, lovely cans for the Banshees. He's going to be hoping that his troops of Arnu, Bass and Sean Page will be able to take down the Saints. And this is going to be a really interesting series, a different dynamic with RLIS, with the mix of the 3 game modes. This, a best of 7, if you're not familiar with the format, starts off in game 1 with 3s, then goes on to 2s, and then a 1v1 in game 3. Then game 4, the game mode is decided by the losing team at that stage. That's between 2s or 1s. Game 5 is back to 3s. Game 6 is the opposite of game 4, and then if we make it to the fabled land of game 7, then we'll be back to 3s for the absolutes, the sort of kind of the moments where you can really decide the winner. Ejam, this is going to be a really, really tight series, and do you have any thoughts on which way this one might go?
Well, Barmanathan, of course, can't ignore the fact that he's never lost an RLIS series. He has a 100% win rate in RLI. He has that going for him as well. Arno, very, very strong player as well. And of course, Bible and Sean Page, I'd be familiar with them too from the collegiate scene. Sean Page being on the NUIG side and Bible being on UCD. And Bible, of course, won that last ever event done by ICE, which was the 2v2 tournament, which I believe they beat Jacko and D Lynch in the final. So this player is capable of showing up when they need to as well. But kickoff in game 1, no crazy kickoff strategies. I guess the teams are gonna they obviously played against each other already, but now it's a final scenario. They don't want to mess up when they're this close. It's going to be a very long 5 minutes in the stadium for these players, but we'll see how they get on.
An early start here for the Saints. They're looking to try and get some pressure early on, but dealt with well by Sean Page. Might try and go back down the other end, but Ejam, it's a really interesting dynamic in sort of this tier, because it's the lowest tier of RLIS, so I think quite a bit of it might be about kind of minimising the mechanical mistakes almost.
Yeah, exactly. In the higher tiers, what you see is you need a really good play to either break open the defense, or more often than not, someone makes a player and then they capitalize very quickly. In this tier of players, they're obviously, they're not bad players at all. They're just not to that standard. They make more mistakes. The rotations might be a little slower, a little more off. 50s won't be as calculated and controlled. So they just need to make sure their communication is on point, keep the heads high at all stages. Right now, they're just knocking the ball forward. Really a good bit of pressure there from the Banshees, but the Saints coming back now. Joe getting it in field, double commit on the defense, but they get it clear for now. And the Banshees, it seems to be all them at the moment. Arno, again, I'm going to mention, I think, very, very strong player, possibly the best in this lobby alongside Joe, potentially. That's just my opinion. Obviously, everyone has their own. So I'm interested to see how that matchup goes. But the Saints now looking to go forward. Bass just hitting it clear yet again. And whereas, it just feels like no one's really getting any clear-cut opportunities right now. They're just hitting the ball towards the net and hoping for the best. And again, it's just getting cleared out quite easily by both sets of defences.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a very tentative start to the game for both of these two sides. Neither wants to overcommit, but almost as I say that, a chance there, almost for the Banshees, but both teams trying to settle into things in game 1.
Yeah, both teams selling now. Arno has it in the corner, looking to find Bass. He actually gets the shot off there, but Bermantan able to clear it in the end. Of course, under the name Monk for this series. That's a bit of a clear, but picked up in the defense again. Bass trying to get up quickly, possibly look for a bounce off the corner. Doesn't find it and doesn't even steal the boost in the end. Viable reads them all day long, and again, it seems to be the Banshees who are enjoying all of this pressure, but they need to make sure that, they don't get caught with a quick little counter attack like what we might see here, where Mantan over one. Bass again able to clear it, and in the first 2.5 minutes, Reds, we've had one shot on goal.
Yeah, this game's already been played in the midfield, at least so far, but there is still time for both of these teams to make their mark on the game. Sean Page looking for the flashy play, and it's going to be cleaned up by Bass, and that's going to open up the series.
Yeah, about time. You felt this goal was coming from a long time from the Banshees. Great pass in from Sean Page. Viable just not on the backboard, ready for it. Has to try jump up, misses the read. Bass with the open net. No one was trying to demo, no one was trying to clear him out. And you know, in what's been a pretty dominant game for the Banshees, I say they're quite happy with this result so far, because the Saints, if they want to, you know, not go a game down this early, they have to find their way back quickly. And as I say that, Joe doing everything his team needed to do. They were under pressure for that whole first goal that goes in, but then off kickoff, they just tied the game up, and that could be so important for them.
That was a really little nice touch by Viable there to put it past the last defender to leave Joe with the open goal, and instantly tied up, and that's really equalised this game.
Yeah, it's equaliser for now. Viable again looking to get it across, doesn't quite find it. Barmantan looking to get the flick over, no one really there to follow. Bass now loses out to Joe. Joe had an opportunity to get it in, but Sean Page reads the miss, or maybe Joe just misses in general. Few mistakes coming out nice and early, no surprise there. Obviously the nerves will be high in this game one, but you know, for some of these teams they might be thinking that 3v3 is their strongest suit, so they really want to win this, you know. Both teams could be afraid of the ones players that are going to come out tonight, so if you feel like threes is your best mode, you need to be scoring those to secure the win. But all of a sudden the Banshees are feeling the pressure coming out here from the Saints. The Arno looking to change that quickly, unable to really find anyone. And Res, it looks like the game's completely flipped from the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. We've gone from quite a controlled game in the first sort of 2.5 minutes to now it's just the ball getting pelted off the backboard by both teams, and each team trying to get that decisive goal, because that would mean a lot going into the final minutes of play.
Yeah, and off the crossbar again from Joe. Banshees under all sorts. Sean Page, no boost, has to get it out. Basto knocking it forward. Everyone has a bit of time to reset. Viable now sitting in defense with no boost. Joe needs to make sure he gets it far away from here. That's a bit centered. Sean Page unable to wrap his car around and find the angle for himself. Viable beats one, but under pressure from Sean Page. Bass now really wants to end this game before it gets to overtime. That was a poor touchdown. Barmantan now a bit of an opportunity. Sean Page knocking it back and forward, and as it feels like I'm just calling out name after name after name. No one's really playing for possession at the moment. They're just knocking it back and forth. But surely someone's going to have to break that 1-1 deadlock soon, potentially before we make it to overtime.
Yeah, Viable looking to be that man to step up, but it's cleared away by Arnu. And now, 15 seconds left to go, we do seem to be staring down the barrel of overtime in game one of this final.
Yeah, Viable. One last shot perhaps puts it a little high. Arno scrambling for boost, maybe allows Barmantan to get it in. But Arno with more, picking up that boost, they've cleared out. Sean Page, can he keep it up? It looks like it's going to bounce. And Res, we go to game one overtime. This could be a long series for these players.
We knew this series was going to be tight going into it, but this game has proved as much going into overtime, as now the Banshees look to try and get that goal.
Yeah, Sean Page knocking over one, unable to find it. Joe, that wasn't the best clear. Viable should be able to take this away from Bass. Does in the end. That's a lovely little flick on, making sure Arno can't do anything. That was straight into the car. Viable reading that very well. Opportunity coming through here. Doesn't have the boost to make anything happen. Bass on 0. And the boost gets stolen. Bit unfortunate there. That's a missed read. Sean Page going for the demo. It's an open net now. Everybody's missing. Viable's flipping in all sorts of directions, but somehow recovers and saves it in the end. Arno unable to find it. Bass now knocking it back down. It's off the post. Is that going to go in? No, it's not. Barmantan flicking it up now. And how have they not scored there, as the Banshees coming so close? Still the pressure's on. That's just past the post. Bass knocking another cross in now as well. How long can this defense last? Sean Page looking to knock it up. Maybe a one-on-one opportunity. Can he find the read? Fakes it down. Arno, it's an open net. If he can hit this, hits the crossbar. Double tap. Finally gets it in, and the Banshees win game one.
They finally got there in the end. The Banshees have been knocking on the door for a very, very long time in that overtime. Almost the whole minute the ball was just getting hit off the backboard for the Saints. And the Banshees taking that first game, and that could be a very important one.
Yeah, and now, of course, as we go to the 2v2, we see Viable dropping out for the Saints. We have to see what roster the Banshees decide to use for this 2v2, but honestly, that was so intense by the end. I thought the Saints could have maybe, just maybe held on till the end. But here we go. Players are readied up almost. Game 2. I'm not sure that we know the confirmed rosters. I don't have them with me at the moment. Perhaps Viable could be playing on this one. But it was a very strong performance. It's Arno and Sean Page against Viable and Barmanatan. I don't know. Obviously, big goal at the end. Can himself and Barmanton get in there and viable? And Barmanton. Oh, everyone's confusing me. We had Joe first. Right, so the rosters don't even know what team they're using.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, Jam. It is really always very an interesting dynamic in these grand finals, where the teams it's kind of all about mind games of trying to pick who you think the opponent's going to go for and try and pick accordingly, and it's just a big toss up. As we go into this game too, the teams may be looking to put out their strongest rosters to try and get on the board early, because this is an important game. If the Banshees win this one, they'd be 2-0 up, and that would be a very precarious spot for the Saints going into the third game. So Arnaud and Bass are going to be looking to double their lead in this series.
Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, twos. I expect a bit more goals here, but we'll see just how the first minute or two plays out. Viable. Trying to flick it over one. That might just go in, and an early goal here. I suppose it is to be suspected in twos. I expect twos and ones are obviously a lot more high scoring than threes, but that's an important goal for the Saints. They need to make sure they don't sit back and defend now. They need to push for more. They need to try to tie the series up going forward. And you know, maybe that's just a momentum shift they need after losing out on that last overtime.
Viable needs to get a touch on this, and he does. About the Saints looking to bounce back in this one, but the early goal is going to help them with that. Joe up early and beating the Banshees player to it, and they're going to try and double their lead, but it's cleared away by Arnaud.
Yeah, cleared away. Bass now looking to make it a 50 there. Viable wins it in the end, but only 12 boost. Looks for his teammate, but Arnaud reads that, and now no double top opportunity. Actually decides to go for boost, leaves it for Bass, knocks it up nicely. I don't think Arnaud has the angle there. It was close, but nice bit of pressure, and oh, that 50 is just going to go in. It's up. It's slammed into the net by Viable. It was a very tough shot to save, but Viable just unable to keep it out, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, Joe not quite taking the right 50-50 there, and Viable unable to keep that one out. So we're all tied up, but still plenty of time for both teams to really step up and take this game by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah, it's intense. You know, somebody, at least they have a teammate to sort of back them up. The next game, of course, you're all by yourself in there, so you don't want nerves going into that game. But right now, it's just dead even at the moment. Both teams enjoying their fair share of possession in that first minute. But it's who can control the boost better. How good can your touches be? Sean Page with an open net here. That was, or Joe, I should say, with an open net there. Lovely, lovely little play there. Lovely pass from Viable. Arnaud stuck in the net, couldn't power slide around in time and get up to save that. And you know, that takes composure, Res. But Joe doing what his team needed to do and regaining that lead.
Really nice play by Joe there to get that goal and reclaim that lead, as you said. But now they've got to hold on to it. That's a poor kickoff, and they may lose the lead instantly yet again. Bass with a shot, and it finds the back of the net. We're all tied up yet again, Ejam.
Yeah, and again, the tip-off goals. I don't know, I'm not sure if they going for the shot there or not at first, and Bass. Both players were jumping that way, so that took good seeing the players fly up like that, but very strong finish, ties the game back up, and I feel like this will just be a goal fest all around. It's so important just to keep it within one goal if you are losing. Break down these defenses. Get nice little demo plays like that. Give yourself the 2v1 opportunity. Nothing comes from it this time, but they need to be sure not to get caught in the counter attack here. Pick up boost on your rotation back there and everything right. But now Viable, a little bit of space, and the demo coming through as well from Joe. Leaves it. Oh, that was a bad spawn point, but Viable gets it in there anyway, despite the defender spawning in front of him. A great finish, and they go up one yet again.
Viable's done really well there to sneak it in. Bass respawning right in front of his eyes, but he managed to react in time, make sure he didn't end up getting bumped out of the play, and they've reclaimed that lead yet again. But they've got to make sure they don't mess up this kickoff as they have done previously in this game, and it's not great. And the Banshees are yet again on the attack off the kickoff.
Yeah, and Viable against Bass here. Viable actually winning out, gets it across, but smart decision by Joe, realising that the shot wasn't there. And now Viable one-on-one, gets it up high. This is going to be difficult to save, and lovely composure. Viable, of course, you know, their win against Jacko and D Lynch in the ice tournament was considered a huge upset, and Viable showing his two mechanics like he did in that tournament there. Very strong in these two. He's a player I would back, but just needs to keep this momentum up now.
Yeah, Viable's really stepped up in this one so far. Obviously, Joe no slouch of his own. And they've got that 2-goal lead, and now they've got to hold on to it. They have a lot of time left on the clock for the Banshees. But with every big clear they can get down the field, like that one from Joe, it does take seconds off the clock and reduces the chance of a comeback.
If you're winning right now, it's a very long 2.5 minutes in there. If you're losing, it's a very quick 2.5 minutes. It's just the way it works, as my co-caster seems to be choking right now. Rez, are you alive?
I am alive, I am alive. And Bass
Choking
gets in the
just
goal.
like, choking just like the Saints defense there. Bit of a miss. Viable just passing it straight back. That was sloppy, and the game is back within one. 2-goal leads are dangerous, but we'll see just how dangerous they can be. Interesting to see, Rez, if we're going to see any, kickoff variations here, fake kickoffs, things like that. In threes, it's very difficult to get away with them, but in twos, it's definitely more possible. And that was a lovely bump, and Joe now unable to really make anything happen. That's a difficult angle to try pass it in, but gets it in anyway. Bass so close to an own goal. Crucially, does not touch the ball into the back of his net there. And Viable, good 50. Arno knocking it downfield now, trying to flick it on. It did work, but Joe, not sure was it going in. Clears it just in case, but take no risk. Arno, low boost, just hitting it in. Plenty of time to clear this ball out now, but you don't want the ball in your half of the pitch, especially when you're a goal down.
Bass up in the air early, beating out the other player. Anu trying to get it in field, but at the moment, the Saints defense is holding strong Ejam. They're clinging on to that 1-goal lead, but maybe not for long as Viable. Gonna try and get that 2-goal lead back, but the Banshees slowly running out of time in this one.
Slowly running out of time, and what a save from Arno. How the hell did he keep that one out? That might just need what they needed. Arno looking to do it all himself now. Unfortunately, Joe clearing it out in the end. Another opportunity up very quickly, centering it in field. An opportunity here from Bass. Viable, well met in the air to clear that. Joe goes for the boomer. Arno, plenty of time to rotate back here, but if he wants to put his team 2-0 up in the series score, he has to make something count here. Touches it down, misses the touch. Viable just waiting for it, gets there first. Bass now flicks it up. The double commit coming through. Arno needs to get back quickly here. If this bounces awkwardly, it bounces up. Luckily for them, Bass plenty of time to clear it. Arno now has to make a good touch. Does, but unfortunately leaves Viable with the opportunity, misses it in the end, trying to cause a bit of havoc, taking a bit of boost as well. Joe now has to win out this. Bass beats him, and Arno gets it in. Score is all tied up for all, and Res, the Banshees, they're putting the pressure on the Saints.
The Banshees have not given up this game. They've shown incredible resilience to stay in this one, and they've been rewarded for it. They were 2 goals down a matter of moments ago, but they've brought it back, and with 30 seconds to go, this game has been thrown wide open.
It is, it's so close. Will we see another overtime, or can someone put the game to bed right now? Arno looking to do something himself, looks for the double touch. That is a brilliant shot, unable to make it in the end. Bass secures it, but look how close this double tap was. Rez was not expecting the angle from that hit, but that was very well done, and Joe maybe expecting it to go in, caught watching the ball as Bass smashes it into the net, and 15 seconds to find a goal for the Saints.
The Banshees have turned this one right around, and in the final 15 seconds the Banshees may look to make it 6-4, and this could really crush the morale of the Saints. Ejam going down 2-0 in the series, especially considering that they weren't really able to get that much done in the first game. The ball is going to hit the floor.
Oh,
the Banshees, they've taken game 2.
They've taken game 2, and Banshees crucially 2-0 up in the series now. Rez, we'll just wait for our producer to get to us over who the 1v1 players are going to be here. But this is such an important 1v1 for the Saints. Who's going to step up and make, because if the Saints lose this race, they're going to be on, they have to win 4 in a row. It's going to have to be a pure reverse sweep, and it's not just playing the same game mode. Viable against Bass for the 1v1. Viable really needs to step it up here. Left the game and joined the match, maybe getting the ones preset on. Viable played very well that game, and the Saints, they only lost both games by 1 goal. They're still within touching distance, but this game going to be so crucial. The Saints will have to reverse sweep if they drop this, and that will not be a nice feeling, knowing that they've lost 3s, 2s, and 1s.
Yeah, absolutely. The pressure is all on Viable for this one. He is a player who has been known to tilt a little bit in the past, and he's got to put the last two games out of his mind. This is a new game and a new game mode. So going up against Bass is going to be crucial for them to get this win, to get themselves back into this series.
Yeah, we'll see just how well they do here. Both players are there. Both players are ready. The clock counts down. Does Viable have that ice in the veins? Can Viable win the first kickoff and not go around early? This is going to be so much more technical, Res. We have to be watching what both players do. But right now, Bass is scoring that opening goal. And in theory, they don't want to defend the whole game. Bass, now you don't want to be defending for 250 seconds or whatever it is. But that's what you need. Put the pressure on Viable early. See if you can get that tilty Viable to come out. And, could potentially close the series out with this win because the morale will be so low.
Yeah, Bass has done well to get a goal off the first kickoff, and he's got a bit of defence to do here. It's Viable putting the pressure on to try and get back into it, but he's still got plenty of time. It's important to remember that a one-goal lead in ones is just so fragile that it can be lost within a second. So Viable has plenty of time to get back into this.
Yeah, jumping, you have to be so careful if you're jumping for 50s. Things like that, just, misses the jump and that's 2-0. That's what I mean. If you jump, it's such a risk. You're just left stranded in the air, especially if you don't get the ball. And, just misread it. And Bass capitalising perfect on that, waiting for the mistake that happens, and it comes true. Still 4.5 minutes. This is nowhere near over, especially that fragile lead comes from kickoffs in particular. And that's not what you want to be seeing if you're Viable. But Bass, very interesting, doesn't attack the corner boost. Actually goes for the mid boost, knocks it high. Viable, you need to get down very quickly. Otherwise, waiting on the backboard. Very smart decision by Bass, letting it drop. Make sure Viable falls off the wall. And this could be a slaughter, Res. This could be a long 4 minutes for Viable in there.
Yeah, I get the impression that Viable's just crumbling a bit. Obviously, Bass, a veteran of the lower tiers for RLIS. He's played in many different seasons and had success in some. He's looking to add to his trophy cabinet from RLIS yet again tonight, and he's looked really good in this one's game so far, but there's still plenty of time for Viable to turn this one around.
Yeah, and Bass can do whatever they want to right now. 3 goals up, you can just chillax, just wait for Viable. Don't invite the pressure on, but, keep it in this orange half. Don't take any unnecessary risks. If you concede, you're still 2 goals up. There's still so much time. That's the scary thing about once. Just so many goals go in over the course of the 5 minutes. But if you're Viable right now, you don't want to be leaving it to the last minute to get goals. You want to look for plays now. Keeps it up high, looking for a little air dribble. Gets it over Bass, and that was very well composed. And I think that will maybe just lift the morale, lift the confidence up of Viable. It was a great finish. Bass perhaps could have jumped just a tiny bit earlier, maybe been a little bit closer to Viable. It's tough to tell in those situations, but fair play to Viable, but still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, Viable pulling out his mechanics in that one. Bass getting caught out slightly, and now this is a bit more aggressive from Bass. We saw him going back for the boost earlier, but he's gone straight for the ball this time, but he may succumb to another goal for it as Viable looking for a second air dribble. Bass going to beat him to that one, and this is now a big opportunity for him to make it 4-1.
Yeah, but can also just slow the game then. There's no need to, risk anything right now. You just need to, like this, just keep the ball in that orange corner. Now, you need to realise if you don't score this, you're going to be left stranded a bit. But Bass, again, lovely little double tap. Viable could only watch as that hit, isn't it?
Lovely stuff by Bass, hitting the double tap, and Viable, he's basically just, he scored a nice goal of his own, and then Bass, a second later, has come back and scored one that's arguably even better. 4-1 now, and the three-goal lead has been reclaimed, and if Viable can't do anything about this, then I don't know who can. His 2 teammates are arguably levels below him, so if he's not able to take down Bass in this, then I don't know who's going to be able to, as Bass gets his 5th.
Yeah, very well done right there, and I'd say Cans is feeling pretty good about this right now, seeing his team what's looking like will be series point. We'll see if the comeback can happen. 4 goals, 2.5 minutes. Definitely not impossible, but I would be very nervous right now if I were in Viable's shoes, knowing that they have to win another 2s game, another 1s game, and 2 3s games. Doesn't sound too easy, Res.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Just think about it like this: if you're the Saints right now, regardless of the result of this, you're going to have the choice between 2s and 1s for the next game of this series. Well, you might think that they want to pick ones, but Bass isn't even the best player on that Banshees team. That would arguably be Arnaud. So they can't really pick ones for the next one because they've already played their best ones player. So they're going to be forced to pick twos, and that could arguably be an even tougher challenge to try and take down the Banshees. So Saints are in real trouble, but Viable is trying to get his way back into this one.
Viable just keeping, just looking to sort of put a bit of pressure on Bass, make sure Bass isn't filled with too much confidence. You don't want to be letting them run away with it and just absolutely whitewashing the next game, but it's winnable, I think is the word I'm going to go for here. It's definitely winnable, but, little plays like that, 2 goals again, Res, and Viable definitely looking like he could do it.
Bass voicing his thoughts on what he thinks of that little bump there in the chat as Viable getting back into this one. A fair rate of knots with 2 minutes to go. This one has been blown open yet again, and Viable certainly has a chance. Viable trying to get in with another one as Bass able to try and get that one clear, but Bass following it through, going to make it 6-3, and they found the 3-goal lead yet again. And now Viable back on the ropes, Ejam. And we lost Ejam. Hello, welcome back.
Apology, I don't know what happened there. My internet just decides to die. Pretty typical stuff there. Just, only a finals. Internet couldn't have died at any other stage. But you know what? We're back now. That's what counts. And I see it's back to a 3-goal lead. Bass trying to shut down that confidence quickly. Just over a minute and a half left, Res. Anything's possible, but again, Bass just seemed to be in control this whole game. And, even the small wins like that, that's taking 4 or 5 seconds off the clock. They add up. Viable just caught reversing in the corner almost. Prediction for the final score, Res. There's a tough question for you.
Well, this game, do you mean for this game or the series as a whole?
Game.
Oh, it's so difficult to call in ones as the time is ticking down. I can see Viable really putting an effort on to try and get a goal or 2 more, but I just think he's running out of time at this point. Bass is looking a bit too strong. I'd say it could end up being a 7-4.
7-4. This is going to be... Well, we'll see if the 4 comes up. Viable doesn't quite keep it up on the car roof there. Bass clears it in the end, picking up another saver medal for themselves. And I mean, it's been a pretty high scoring game, obviously, in ones, but Viable just, needs to try and keep the pressure on. 35 seconds, a goal and maybe 2 lucky kickoffs is really the only viable option they have going right now. Excuse the pun, but it'll be interesting to see just what Viable can do in these last 20 seconds, whether there's a miracle, but it's looking less and less likely. Bass can put the game to bed right now, and with 7-3, Res, you feel like this game is all but over.
Yeah, it's gonna be match series and championship points for the Banshees after this one. The Saints, I thought it would be a little bit closer, and they performed well in that first threes game, but things have run away from them a little bit in the last 2. As now they're staring down the barrel of a sweep in the grand final, which is not something you like to see.
It's not at all, but if you're cans right now, I'd say you're hoping for it. If you're a neutral, you obviously want a potential reverse sweep to happen, but Bass, 8-3 the final score. What a dominant performance. Game 4, what do you think they're going to go for? 2s or 1s? After that 1's performance, I'd say 2s is the option, considering they only lost by 1 compared to 5, but Saints now, they need to make their player selection very carefully. They need to not lose another game. They need to make sure that they do not get swept and make Khan's ego so high that it's beyond repair. But we'll see now just how it goes.
Yeah, the Saints in a really tricky position here. They've played their best ones player already, though I don't think the Banshees even have. I think they'll be forced to pick 2s. I suspect that'll be Viable and Barmanitan going up against Arnaud and Sean Page. I think there would be a chance for the Saints in that one. I think that is probably their best shot. But even so, even if they are able to get the win in this next game, they've got such a tough challenge trying to get back into the series as a whole. A best of 7 is a long series in of itself, but a reverse sweeping one is even harder.
Yeah, big decision to be made. Viable, of course, saying discussing at the moment. Next match in 5 seconds. Hopefully they have some time to think. Hopefully they're not too tilted at the moment. We don't want to see that. We'll get confirmation now who will be playing, just waiting for these players. Of course, if the action ends right now, we will be back at 8. Mark will be joining us for that one. Players are in lobby. We'll see now. Our admin trying to find out desperately. The suspense, Res. I can't really hold this in for too much longer.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm slightly surprised by the Saints actually taking so long to make this decision, because I felt that twos was the obvious choice, and that is what they've gone for. So I suspect it'll be Viable and Barmanatan going up against Arno and Sean Page. And Sean Page came into this season as being one of the lowest ranked players in the whole of RLIS, but he's really grown as the season's gone on, progressed quite a bit as a player. And yeah, as I expected, those will be the teams going in for this one. It's all up to Barmanatan and Viable to try and get a foothold back in this series, and it's going to be really, really tough for the Ejam.
Yeah, this is going to be intense. This is it, the final countdown. 5 minutes to start the reverse sweep. Is it possible?
Absolutely,
Barmanatan.
Arno almost looking for the early shot, and the Banshees, they are coming out of the gates quickly to try and just ruin the morale of the Saints even further.
Yeah, and Viable looking to ping one in the top right. Arno reads that very well. Is Barmantan there perhaps to follow up? No, they are not. But that was an awkward hit. Barmantan against the corner wall. Finds Sean Page in the end. And Viable needs to get this away from his goal. That's in a very dangerous spot at the moment. Sean Page deciding to just wait. Takes the shot opportunity. Now that's a brilliant shot. Barmantan, lovely recovery to get back in time. Sean Page again pinging it into the midfield. No one's there, and Viable finally able to get it out.
Yeah, early pressure here for the Banshees in this one. It was a good save by Barmanatan a second ago, and Sean Page could get caught out here, but he will get back in time. As now the Banshees are having to do a bit of defense of their own, but Arno beats Viable to the ball to get it clear.
Yeah, gets it clear, and now Arno 1v1. Barmantan having none of it there, unable to crack down the defence, stayed calm. Viable over one, cleared out by Barmantan in the end. And yeah, it's surprisingly even, but if you're the Saints, you're alright with this. You're not chasing a comeback. You're not under any real sort of pressure. This is definitely in their favour at the moment, but Sean Page under all sorts of pressure, causing problems for themselves. What is happening? Res finally just gets rid of Sean Page. Viable decided boost is more important than hitting the ball, allowing Arno to clear it in the end. But Viable, opportunity here, beats one. Sean Page collecting boost, has a full tank to deal with this. Viable looking to find the double tap, unable to get it, but there we go, the shot saved in the end. Bouncing up awkwardly, Arno up quickly, makes the recovery, gets it out, but the Saints are enjoying this spell of pressure.
Yeah, the Saints really should have been scoring that. They had plenty of opportunities to force it in, and there were mechanical mistakes from all over the shot from Sean Page in the corner, but they did end up getting away with it. But the pressure is still on. It's the Saints trying to convert this, but Sean Page pushing forward, trying to completely change the swing of the game as Viable almost puts it into his own net, but Barmanatan will get it clear.
Yeah, that was scary. Arno now looking to ping one in. No ball boost spawned for Viable, which means Viable's on a low tank here. Squeezes it in between the two. Arno. Oh, could that be the goal that wins them the grand final? Could that be the goal that makes Khan turn into a cocky, egoed manager? I'd say Kansas loving this.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming into this one, these are the top two teams from League Play. They both won their semi-finals by 4-1. I don't think many people would have predicted a 4-0 sweep going into this final, but it is not over yet as Barmanatan ties the game.
Barmanatan, 100% win record, nor ally. Trying to keep that record, you know, intact, but it's very difficult. They need to score another goal this game without conceding a goal and win 3 more games after. Easy, right?
Well, that's certainly what the Saints will be hoping for, because They're going to have to reset the mentality and hope that it is an easier task than it perhaps really is in reality. There's now Barmanatan trying to get a second goal for the Saints to put them in the lead, which is a position they haven't really been in much at all in this series. Apart from in that first twos game, when they did have the lead for quite a substantial part of the series, despite losing in the end. They've really struggled to get a foothold in really any of the games. And that's a mistake by Barmanatan, but they will get away with it.
Yeah, lovely clear up there from Barmantan. Arno, though, don't want to give him too much time. That's a miss hit at the moment, but Sean Page, the NUIG legend himself, keeping it out, hitting it forward now. Viable, the UCD player, they've met before in ice, they're meeting again now at the moment. It's weird to see these players play in RLI when I'm so used to seeing them play for their college teams. Of course, there is a small chance Sean Page could end up with Linsk at NUIG since that team's completely disbanded almost. So that'll be a big move for him. But for now, Arno looking to put the game to bed here. It's rolling in slowly and it does go in. Oh my god, Res squeezed it in and the Banshees 1 minute 12 seconds away from potential sweeping the final.
A definite rising star moment going on in the net in that one. Viable trying to desperately keep it out, but ended up putting it actually into his own net. As now the Banshees have the lead yet again. This is really the crunch time. Can the Banshees hold on for the last minute and 6 seconds of this game? Or can the Saints, well, get a goal to tie the game, then win in overtime, then win the next 3 games on the trot? It sounds near impossible, and that's because it is Ejam. The Saints staring down the barrel of a crushing defeat in this one.
Yeah, and you know, the clock's ticking down so slowly. That's a lovely pass inside. Sean Page, don't know how they beat Barmantan to it, but they did. And now starting to counter-attack of their own. Leaves it for Arno. No, bit of breakdown of communication there, but Arno very crucially down to the side. Here we go, Res. Last 36 seconds. Arno looking for the ground pitch. Saved in the end by Martanda. Now one-on-one against Viable. Viable gets a touch, but this is bouncing nicely for Sean Page. Potentially Barmantan out of boost. Sean Page is slowing the game down. Knows there's no need to make a risky play. Barmantan, no boost. Maybe might look for some here. No, looking to get the ball in instead. That looks very high and difficult to save. But oh, Viable unable to find the touch, and Arno missing the clear now. Actually, maybe one last opportunity here by Mantan. 6 seconds. Can he make it happen? Viable, you're driving the wrong way, buddy. You need to get the ball towards that blue side of the net. One last hit, and they just need to leave it here. Kill the ball. Viable leaves before he can get there. And congratulations to the Banshees. Congratulations to Cans. That is a big fat 4-0. And Cans, his manager of the season shout, still very much alive at the moment. Jeez.
Yeah, really, really good performance, Ejam, by the Banshees. The Saints, they looked up to it in league play, but when push came to shove in the grand final, they just weren't up to the task. A good performance throughout the day by Viable. He did his best to try and get them through, especially in the first threes game and the first twos game. But in the end, they were just outclassed by the Banshees.
Yeah, that was very dominant in the end. I believe we have some players joining at the moment. I suppose we have time before the next game, so I suppose we'll have a little interview at the moment. I suppose we'll talk to the manager first. Lovely Cans, are you with us?
I am indeed, sir.
If you could sum up your team's performance without getting too egocentric, how would you put it?
Oh, fantastic! I was so the trees got my heart racing a bit too much in overtime with the ball living on their goal line, but they did fantastic. The twos then was superb as well. I thought we struggled a bit in the twos, and then Bass pulled out an absolute stunning performance in the ones. I was shocked, actually, to be honest. I didn't think he had it in him, but he mudded Viable, and then a perfect sweep then to round off the win. I think it was a fantastic performance by them all season long. They showed that they were the dominant force, basically, in the division, and looks rightly so. Champion of Rising Star.
Well, congratulations, boss. That was a very dominant 8-3 win there. Very strong performance all around. Did you know that you were going to win that, or was there any stage where you were just worried that Viable could potentially come back?
Okay, well, so at the start of the game, a few seasons ago, I was also in the finals, and I got trashed by Wrench, I think 13-1 in the ones game. So before the game started, I was screaming at Sean and Arnaud that I didn't want to play the ones game. But in the end, I don't know. I don't think Viable was playing like he usually does, because I've played against Viable before and that was not a fun experience, but this time it worked out for me. I had a few lucky moments where Viable had maybe a less than ideal recovery. For the rest, I tried to stay calm and play the game like I normally do.
Well, congratulations on your win. You played it extremely well. Arno, I'll come to you next. Obviously, a lot of people are saying that, you know, you're too good for that level, and you know, you played like that. The rumors are true. You were extremely strong for that level. You played extremely well. You had good teammates to back it up. How do you think that experience was for you, and what was it like having Cans as a manager?
Well, Cans, in my opinion, is a really great manager. He always gives that morale boost before the game, or even when he doesn't even come for the day. Always before a day or two, he'd always be like, "All right, boys, you got this. I know you got it in you," and like he believes in us 110%, and he couldn't have had a better manager and teammates. Teammates are absolutely outstanding. I will not lie.
Yeah, Sean Page, I just want to come to you with a last sort of question of the evening. And you obviously didn't play in that first twos game, nor did you play in the ones game. So how did you really manage to adapt after that sort of 10-15 minute break after the first game to really come into that fourth game firing on all cylinders?
To be honest, I wasn't firing on all cylinders, but you know, I just rode the momentum of the team, and we were gone by then. It was just all vibes in the call, and we were on the route to victory.
On the route to victory. Well, congratulations to all of you. Sean Page, I'm sure I'll be seeing you in the collegiate scene soon enough. For the rest of you, might see you at LAN, might not see you at LAN. But for now, we're going to throw it to a quick little break, and when we're back, we will have another final, plenty of action. Morky will be with us for that one. But for now, we'll see you soon.